Okay, it's live. It's live. Let's hope that everything is live because I had a huge crash on my Firefox thing and I lost everything. So I lost all my passwords, I lost all my logins, all history, every single thing. So the one thing I can't do at the moment is I can't log into the Vaughan chat because I cannot find my login for that. I am a good boy, so I did have some backups and I managed to retrieve quite a lot of the stuff. But all, I think, last backup was something like from September, October. Um, because my normal backup, when I tried to retrieve it, it told me that my backup disk was broken. So, they never come just one at a time. It's always several things happening at the same time. And this is the case here. So I'm hoping that everything is live because can I see the Gin and Tonic show comments? I don't know. I'll have to wait until somebody makes a comment to see if I can see what is being written there, or if I need to be logged in to see this. I don't know yet. Okay, here we go. I mean, why can't it ever be smooth? All right, it's now 2016, and I thought it would be smooth just for once. I thought I'd done my homework. I thought I'd done everything. I didn't. All right, it's the Gin and Tonic show. At least there is some consistency here. Now, the Gin and Tonic show is a show where we try and discuss things around Islam, and ideally with Muslims who can explain Islam better than anybody else can, but they don't really come here. And there's not a lot of interest, it seems, by people to learn something about Islam. I think people have heard enough, or they're not interested, or they're simply saying, I couldn't care less anything about Islam. So, well, that's the way that it is, and we have to live with that. But here we divide not between people who are interested or not, but we just say, look, we're going to broadcast. And if we have interesting topics and interesting contents, then we can go to a couple of thousand viewers instead of just a couple of hundred, the way that it is at the moment. So I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm just going to say, okay, it's up to me to provide the contents, and then people will get interested. The same way as I have to rebuild my own personal channel again, which is also let's call it a challenge. Okay, but we're here with the Gin and Tonic show. The way that it works is I provide the definitions in the beginning, where, I don't know, maybe I should ask people, do I really need to do that? Because a lot of times I still get people saying an atheist is somebody who claims that the Vaughan chat is empty. The Vaughan chat is empty. Thanks, Jeremy. I don't know how to get the Vaughan chat up and running. Do I need to go to Vaughan? Let me try. My Vaughan. Stop doing this. Would you like to improve your search experience? No. Fuck off. No. My Vaughan.com, and then I need to go to Gin and Tonic or something like this, if I remember correctly. Vaughan Live, Breakers, Vapors. Let me try Vaughan Live. I don't have the password for vaughanlive.tv. Oh goodness, I need to sign in, and I don't have the username or the password because I only have Gin and Tonic, and this. I know the password, but I don't know the username. Invalid username or password. Gin and Tonic show at which one should I take? Let's try if Gmail works. Processing. Why does he tell me he's processing, but he doesn't go in? Unbelievable. And I hate this if the first couple of minutes absolutely nothing happens. Okay, he's processing and he's not telling me there's something wrong, but he's telling me absolutely nothing. Oh, this is so unfair. I hate it. I hate it. Let me try putting a "the" in front of it. The Jinn&Tonic show. Same, nothing happens. Oh, bloody hell. Let's try. And the other problem is that my mouse is broken. This stupid, I hate these Logitech mice. They are so good when they work. And this is the only one that fits my hand and has all the functions that I need. But then after a while, the left button somehow goes, and then I can't mark individual letters or portions, and it just jumps around like crazy. No, I can't log into Vaughan. Damn. Now, this is annoying. Okay, we'll have to go without for now. I can't help it. Oh, but now there is something. Somebody is saying hello. Ace is there with hello. Jez is saying hi. So somehow it seems to work for some odd reason. It's just that I cannot log in. Okay, I'm just going to go. We're going to go do some definitions. If anybody thinks I should leave this, because I still find people who are saying that atheists are people who claim there are no gods. And this is not what an atheist is claiming. An atheist claims that this person, this one individual, does not believe that there are dragons or ghosts or gods. And that is it. There's nothing else involved. There's no other insinuation or inference or anything like that. That is all that an atheist is. This is why I'm always trying to tell people, look, we are trying to be objective, okay? I'm not in the business here to try and proselytize, and I'm not trying to deconvert or convert anyone here. I'm not a Christian who says, well, I need to get you over to Christianity. No, I don't care. If you want to believe in a God, that's your business. And that's fine. Why should I care about that? As long as you don't involve me in your belief, that's cool. So if you want to believe in a God and it helps you and it gives you comfort, it gives you hope, well, then so be it. Just don't somehow involve me in it. And this is where I start getting annoyed if people start shooting at me because I don't believe what they believe. Or if they go into schools and say, well, no, you can't teach this, you need to teach what our old ancient book is saying. That's when I get a little bit iggly and I decide, no, I need to do something about it. And that is the way that I work. So in other words, I don't really care. I'm a guy who can go and have a drink with anybody. I can talk to anybody. I don't have any kind of chip on my shoulder or anything like that. It's just that if I am confronted with somebody who makes a claim, then I would expect that somebody to explain their claim and why it is that they believe what they believe. Okay, so this is what I am. So I'm a human being who is not involved with any gods. So if you have a God belief, you're a theist, but a human plus nothing is just another human. So I'm just a human. I'm also an agnostic because the question, do you believe? If you say no, then this is an atheistic belief. And if you say, do you know that gods exist or not, then this would be an agnostic. If you say no, I am not sure that gods exist, I do not know that gods exist, then you're an agnostic. So I'm an agnostic atheist, even though personally, come on, I mean, let me be real. The same way as I can't know that dragons exist, but I'm pretty sure there's no dragons. The same way I'm pretty sure that there's no gods. But then I can't say that for sure, and that's why I'm an agnostic atheist. Now, as I said before, the theist is making the claims, and the person who is making the claims also needs to provide the evidence. So I love hearing arguments for the existence of gods if they are realistic. So in other words, all these arguments that we know, this teleological of the argument from design, or the cosmological one, the kalam, and things like that, don't do that. That's all that's been thrown out. Don't come with these things. Don't pretend that we're all stupid and we've not heard any of these. The same as Muslims coming now and saying, yeah, but it says that the universe is expanding in the Quran. No, it does not say that. And the Big Bang is not in the Quran either. So if anybody comes with these old ancient things, then it is true, I tend to become a little bit, whatever. So, is there evidence for the existence of dragons? No. So you're an a-dragonist. And that is it. And as soon as you explain to me why there are dragons, you can use the same thing to explain to me why there are gods. Until then, I will not believe this. We talk about Islam. Now, Islam is highly complex. I know that there are people out there who are saying Islam is very simple. All you need is a couple of seconds and you can explain entire Islam. No, you can't. Islam is highly complex because in the middle, you have the religion, you have this God. And this then determines all the other elements around it. In other words, you have the worldview, you have all the different legal, what would you call it, definitions or commands and things like that. And then the majority of Islam is then the political ideology. Because as soon as Islam started, I mean, if I start in history and I go back to how Islam started, then it had a goal, which is the caliphate with Sharia. And this is now today supposed to go for the whole planet. So this is the goal of every Muslim, and that is to implement Sharia for everybody. This is why Islam, they say, means peace. It doesn't really. It means the communal submission to a common God. And then you're supposed to have peace, because the definition in Islam of peace is slightly different than the one that I am used to, which would be the absence of violence and destruction. In Islam, it's the communal submission to a common God. That's when you have peace. And that's why Daesh at the moment in Syria and Iraq declare that this is absolute peace, because everybody prays to the same God because they've killed everybody else. And if not, they try and do so. So this is why we look at Islam in a holistic way. All right, we don't only look at it in a spiritual way. We'd like to, but unfortunately it's not possible, because Islam as a spiritual thing, I mean, would be okay, nobody would mind, but unfortunately Islam tries to wiggle into the political life. Now, the problem in Islam is that it's based on two types of texts. The one is the Quran, and the other is not for the majority of Muslims anyway. You have secondary texts which are based on what the Prophet Muhammad did. Unfortunately, they are incredibly vague, incredibly ambiguous, and require interpretation. Now, I don't know offhand a single sentence which would not require interpretation, because it doesn't matter what sentence you take in the Quran. There is nothing there that you can take as is and say, aha, that's what it means. No, you always need to interpret it. It doesn't matter what it is. If somebody has a sentence like that, I'd love to know, because I've looked and I haven't found. The same as I have not found anything in the Quran that is verifiable. There's nothing, there's no statement in the Quran which says so-and-so, and then you can check this and find, yep, true, nothing. So it's quite difficult to find any kind of viable statements in the Quran. So because it needs interpretation, you have different levels. You have the tafsirs, which is the exegesis, the textual analysis. So you need to know those. So preferably somebody like Ibn Kathir or the Al-Jalalains or something like this. This gives you an idea of what the Quran is trying to say, but you still need to interpret this. So this is what the show is about, explain Islam and its contents. So we're not trying to make it, or I'm at least not trying to make it look bad, and I don't hate Muslims in any which way. I don't know if I need to stress this actually. Is this something that I need to say each and every time? I have nothing against Muslims who simply believe in a God. There are millions, hundreds of millions of people who simply are good people, who believe in a God because it gives them comfort and hope. And that's I mean, if you need it, if you need a God in your life, why should I be against that? So I don't mind this, really. And come on, I never stop saying how hospitable, how nice, how friendly, how like very open Muslims are. It's just when they start going, more literal in the text and become more fundamentalist and become more orthodox, that's when the problems start. And this is when you start getting the misinterpretation, and that's when you get the deceit and you get the wrongdoing. This is then when it starts going very, very wrong. Okay, so the next up is the video of the week. Then we have the misconception of the week. Then we have the news. And then normally we have the hadith of the week. And because of the crash, because of everything, because I'm still a little bit hungover, I don't have a hadith of the week. Allah, where are you? Indeed, the number of months with Allah is 12 months in the reach of Allah from the day He created. Hang on, oh, I was too quick. I need to look at this again. Abu Mulheed says the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months in the register of Allah from the day He created the heavens and the earth. Of these, 4 are sacred. That is the correct religion, so do not wrong yourselves during them and fight against the disbelievers collectively as they fight against you collectively. And know that Allah is with the righteous. Wow, I don't understand what this means.
I mean, how can you interpret that in, I mean, according to your definition of interpretation, how can you interpret this other than literally? Did you hear me?
I have a problem that I have too many sources in my head.
You hear me?
I don't know where I get the music from. Shit.
Can you come on the show, Jeremy? So
I can hear you.
You hear me?
I can hear you, but at the same time, I have music in my ear and I don't know from where.
It's a jinn.
It was Vaughan. It was Vaughan doing this. Okay, sorry, I would then say, try this again. Now you're loud and clear.
Okay. No, I just, the first ayah I found hard to interpret in more than one way. This indeed the numbers of months.
Hard to interpret.
I mean, how can you truly?
The day He created the heavens and the earth. What is heavens?
Well, the heavens. But I mean, the first part of the ayah. Indeed, the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months. That's quite clear.
The number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months. Okay, I don't know what it says in the Arabic.
إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله.
He can even sing. Oh. Okay, so what does it say?
It's just that.
I only understood
indeed the numbers. Inna, truly, عدة الشهور, the number of months. عند الله. Yeah. How do they translate that? Like, Inda is like besides. No, like. You can't translate that directly to English but how do they translate it?
Yeah, but with 12 months?
12 months is 12 months. Like the 12 months. We have 12 months too. Yes, we have a solar calendar.
No, but it's not exactly 12 months. It's more than 12 months. That's why every 4 years you have to add another day.
But the lunar month is easier. They have the lunar month.
Okay, but saying you have 12 lunar months, what does that actually mean? What do you mean? That is, what are 12 lunar months?
That it's just 12 lunar months. No more than that.
Exactly.
It's not 22.
You need to interpret this. You need to now say, well, 12 lunar months is what makes up a year. What is the 12 months? What is the meaning of this? Because saying, okay, we have 12 months, What does that tell you?
Well, okay, maybe I presuppose some things here, but
Exactly, this is what I'm saying. So
okay.
interpret this to find any meaning in this. Humans have decided that we have 12 months. I mean, what is this? This is a human decision. This is not natural to have 12 months in 1 year, is it? I mean, if you go once around the sun, why should we go around the sun? Actually, it should be quarters. It should be closest to the sun, furthest away, and the halfway points in between where it changes. So this would be a logical way of dividing. I don't know if you can call it dividing, but dividing the rotation, the orbits of Earth around the sun. If it's 12, it's arbitrary. And here it says the number of months with Allah. What does it mean with Allah? The number of months is 12 lunar months.
Well, if you know Arabic, it's like in the law, like with Allah means.
According to
this is very clear when you know in the law, like you have, it's according to Allah.
Okay, that I understand. So indeed, the number of months according to Allah is 12.
Yeah.
And in the register of Allah, what is the register in the Kitab Allah? What does that mean? So you need to interpret this. The day, how can you create the heaven on a day when there was no sun and no earth? There is no day.
Yeah, but they didn't know those things back then. Or well, they didn't. Or well, some people, the Greeks maybe knew it, but they didn't know it. Or know it, but they supposed to.
So this is what I'm saying. You need to interpret this before it makes any kind of sense, because just saying there's 12 months, so what? Doesn't do anything. And then saying that is okay, the rest we don't even have to talk about, because you can see this is purely arbitrary.
But I mean, how exact does it have to be?
No, I'm just looking, I just said there is no sentence that you can read that makes sense within itself.
But like, do you have any like other sentence in any other book that you can interpret very clearly?
Oh, absolutely. James Bond got out of the car and walked away.
Okay.
So this is a sentence which makes sense, like somebody gets out of a car and walks away from the car. So this sentence does not require any kind of interpretation. You will understand it if you read this in a book. I don't know, something like this. Or, I mean, I can make any sentence. My name is Ishmael. What is that? The beginning of Moby Dick. So do you need interpretation of that? No. This is a very clear sentence that you get when you open Moby Dick. So,
okay. Give me some time. I'll try to find a new one.
Excellent. I love it. Oh yes, brilliant. Okay, so I will continue with the video of the week. Okay, because the video of the week, which I don't know what to make of this, all right? Because it's also part of the news. Because in the news, I have the difference between Dubai and Riyadh, because the new year had some frightening scenes in the Middle East. While Gaza was forbidden to participate in the decadent Western-style celebrations of another rounding the sun successfully, Dubai went ahead and celebrated, while their god angrily lit up a hotel. Saudis, and this we're going to spend some time on later, went and executed 47 prisoners to celebrate the new year, kicking off riots in Tehran because one of the men they executed was the well-known Shia cleric Al-Nimr. So this we're going to talk about. And the video, well, there's also a photo which is quite sick. This is a guy who put this onto, I think, Instagram. It's him and his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And they took a selfie with the burning hotel in the background, and they're smiling and grinning like, this is New Year, blah, 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 click. I mean, that don't people have, I mean, where are the limits? Where are the limits where people go and say, no, this is in bad taste. We cannot take a selfie with a burning hotel in the background. Or what I see a lot of times where people are holding cameras or phones out the window when they are passing an accident scene. I don't understand how this works. Anyway, so the video of the week for me is the fireworks in Dubai with the burning hotel in the foreground. This to me is, I don't know, it's strange. It somehow, it hurts me to see that people on the one hand are celebrating, and then on the other hand people are, watching the fireworks, and people are jumping out of windows or something, or if I would be in that hotel and suddenly underneath me I see flames coming up, how I would quickly and in panic pack my things to get out of that hotel. I mean, I've been in a hotel fire, and that was a small fire, so I know how people panic. And I was stuck on this was I think it was the 25th floor, and I had to walk down the stairs. Here you have 60 floors. I mean, oh goodness, this must be horrible. And it's quite weird how callous people can be, because I mean the whole world is celebrating. Okay, and we've completed an orbit around the sun, brilliant. And this tradition started 4,000 years ago. And then I looked up a couple of facts around the day of New Year actually moved in history, because until 500 years ago it was fixed to what we know today, where Britain waited another 200 years to do so. So some countries started on the 1st of January 500 years ago, because before it was in March. Then consecutively other countries joined in. So it was not poof, everybody went and did this. No. So even Muslims, who are usually quite stubborn when it comes to non-Muslim traditions, like in the Gaza Strip, but they are starting to soften up and fall in with the rest of the planet. I remember was it in Abu Dhabi or Doha? I can't remember. One of the places, they stubbornly refused to do this. And then suddenly in the last couple of years, they also went ahead and fell in with the rest of the planet. Let's just take a look what the comments say. Oh, I'm so happy that they're working. I just want to share the story. Non-Muslim mother forced Sharia court for child custody. Free Malaysian today. Opinion. Ace, can you give us a little bit of background? Because I don't want to now open this and then read everything. That would be brilliant if you could just give us an update on this. Al Jazeera.com, Saudi announces execution 47 terrorists. Yeah, okay, this is just the news. Saudi Arabia executed 47. Bear in mind that not being an atheist is a terrorist now. Exactly. That is no news. That was already 15 months. Talk to clear others in the state. Terrorism, just in case you thought Saudi was getting soft. I should put that the misconception of the week. They haven't executed somebody for a week. Are they getting soft? Oh, goodness, no. Saudis, I mean, that is, I don't know. I used to be quite neutral, I must admit. And now I'm getting, not because they closed a channel of mine, but I'm starting to get really more and more negative when it comes to Saudi Arabia and what the Sauds are doing. I mean, that's not nice. I read now that 90% of the wealth of Saudi Arabia is in the hands of 5% of the people. And now, come on, that is not right. That the workers on the oil platforms, for example, are complaining that they are getting less than minimum wages. And then the other people, the boss there has to decide what color his new Ferrari is, and then he decides he's going to have it in solid gold or something. No, that's not right. The father converted to Islam. Is that the Free Malaysia Today story? Can non-Muslims get justice from a Muslim court? The father converted to Islam. Oh, is that the story where the father converted, the mother didn't, and then the court automatically gave the father who converted the custody of the children, and the mother could have no say in this because she did not convert? Because that story I've heard. So we'll have to see what Ace is going to come up with. Okay, this was the video of the week, because I found it highly disturbing to see this contrast between this burning hotel and I didn't see it live, okay, because I was outside, and then I only saw the recording later when they reiterated this the next morning. So there you go. Then the misconception of the week. Okay, this one's quite funny. There's a YouTube channel called Al Hayat TV Net. And Al Hayat is it's a well-known TV station. So I thought Al Hayat, when I saw something about Al Hayat, I thought, okay, this is the same one that you get on the satellite. Then this is now their YouTube channel. But no, no, no. This is a channel which mocks Islam quite openly and provides the best satire ever, unfortunately, in German. So they take stuff and they translate it into German. But they still keep the English in the background. So if you want to keep it, then if you want to watch it, you can watch it. You can keep it in English. But for example, they went and they looked at sex during Ramadan, and they showed different clerics, and they showed several fatwas. And I have the numbers: 1904 for 1, 11, 13, 36, regulating what, this is during Ramadan, okay? So the question was, if I want to have sex with my wife or my girlfriend or my slave or my concubine or whatever during Ramadan, what do I need to worry about? Well, and these fatwas now tell you what part of the penis, or the precise percentage, what may be inserted into, and let me be delicate on this, into the entrances or exits, front or back, of a woman or a man or an animal before fasting is cancelled, during what time of the day. And then fasting is declared as being rejected. Now, there is so much. There is so much in here. It's absolutely. This is vile. I don't know if you really. People who've been with the show for a long time. I've explained the point system in Islam, where every prayer gives you 10 points, and if you pray on the Sunday, it gives you 100. If you on a Friday, sorry, and if you pray in the Medina Mosque of the Prophet, then you get 1,000. And if you do this, so everything in Islam has been allocated points. All right, this goes back to the hadith of Muhammad riding up on the flying donkey and blah blah blah. So if you look at the points that you get for fasting, you try and fast from sunrise to sunset. So in other words, you're skipping lunch. But now there's technicalities, because this is made for a flat earth. They don't worry about like Norway or Canada or places like that, where you don't have a sunset or a sunrise for a couple of months. This is made for Saudi Arabia and a flat earth, where you have constant sunrises and sunsets. So you're supposed to fast as from when you first sight the sun. The problem is that you see the sun when it's not there yet, due to different factors in the atmosphere that you can actually see around the earth. But people in those days didn't know this. But what now people have come up with is saying, well, it needs to be dark. So you can only go and fast from darkness end until darkness beginning. And this is the difference. So now what they're saying is, as soon as it starts getting light just a little bit, you're not supposed to eat, drink, or have sex. So, but now, what happens if you are having sex while the sun is coming up? Then you've got a problem, because you need to pull out and abandon sex, which is not so nice. So what they've decreed is and the big difference is, if you pull out and you have not ejaculated, then you're okay. But if you ejaculate, you need to pay. No, come on, you need to pay penalty fees, and the whole fasting is rejected for the day. So you don't get the points for that. So you need to stand in the queue up until heaven a little bit longer. But if you insert only the glands, in other words, the first 2 centimeters, or depending on the size of your penis, so they actually explain how much of this is allowed to be inserted. If you don't ejaculate, it's okay. So with ejaculation, or if the entire tip disappears, then you need to pay the penalty and the ejaculation fee. So strangely enough, this also goes for women. So here there is gender equality. So if a woman climaxes and the sun is coming up in the month of Ramadan, that's it. You need to pay the price, and that is not is that the whole thing, the whole fast for the day is reject it, and you might as well have sex and eat and blah, blah, blah the whole day. And you're allowed to drink alcohol because you don't get the points. Now, come on, this is serious. There are hundreds of clerics involved in discussing questions like that. What part of the penis can be inserted into the goat so that it's still okay, but if you pull out quickly when you see the sun come up, you're okay? And this is what clerics decide. This is what they're discussing. This is what they're talking about. It's crazy. And now, Al-Qadi, a known scholar on legal matters, okay, he declared that a sacrifice is necessary if a man has sexual intercourse with an animal during Ramadan. So you can have sex with an animal, but you need to have a sacrifice. So you need to pay something or this. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, there's countless hadiths all talking about Muhammad and how he was a master at controlling his lust and his member and his shaft, and like, who among you can control his desire as the messenger of Allah could control his desire, in Sahih Muslim 2438. So there's a lot of talk about this, and people take this seriously. People actually look at these things and they say, oh my goodness, okay, so I'm allowed to have sex until sunrise is 4 o'clock. I need to subtract 10 minutes just in case I'm a little bit off. So I'm allowed to have sex until 4 o'clock. So if I don't have my orgasm by 4 o'clock, I need to wait until the next day. Come on. And people believe this. And people actually live according to these rules. And these are being seriously discussed in Muslim majority countries. And this is now in the 21st century. And I think this is why Muslims don't come here, because of things like that. Because I'm going to ask them a question. I'm going to say to them, listen, guys, do you seriously consider this? I mean, this makes Islam look so primitive. And this Al Hayat TV net shows exactly this. This is sheer satire, and this is all that they do. I mean, you can watch this all the time, and you have enough material for every Jinn&Tonic show for the next couple of years, because they are so good at digging this out. I think they're also ex-Muslims and they know this. Yeah, quite funny. All right, let's go into the news. And I actually thought maybe I should go to Mariam Namazi and say, listen, can't you organize some people? Because I'd like to, I don't know, what do you think about this? My idea is to make a video, because she had this, I don't know who actually came up with this idea, but CMB was the one who propagated this, the hashtag Muslim because. And this is brilliant. I think it's wonderful, because it's short and sweet, and it gives people the opportunity to think about why they are actually ex-Muslims. And this is brilliant. Ex-Muslim because, brilliant. And I wanted to make this into a video. So I wanted to take people from CMB and give them 10 seconds. Ex-Muslim because blah, blah, blah. And then make a 5-minute video on this, just to show people how many people actually have good reasons and perfectly sound logical judgment and thoughts that go into this to make something like this. So let me know if you would think that this is a good idea or not. So let's go into the news. And if anybody, again, if I should be wrong, if you're a Muslim and you're listening to this and you would like to talk about this and you'd like to tell us about your belief, then by all means, please do. There are different ways to get in touch with us. If you want to come to the Hangout and discuss this here with us, brilliant. All you have to do is you type in hangout.godless.ch. That's how easy it is. If you just want to just listen in a bit and get the feel and blah, 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 and see how nice we are, then you just go to, what was it? www.godless.ch. This then allows you to watch what is going on during the show, and it allows you to type questions, and you can see what kind of comments people are making. Gives you also a possibility to type a question, comment, or suggestion in yourself. But it gives you an idea of what is happening. And then, of course, if you've missed the show and you want to see older episodes, you just go to archive.godless.ch, and there you will get previous shows where you can see what kind of topics we've talked about over the years. Now, unfortunately, some dishonest Muslims went and false flagged the show, so we've lost like 80% of the material that used to be there, which is actually a pity, because we've had a lot of Muslims on the show who have given us excellent input. but all this is gone. But we're trying our best to now keep it on two places so that this does not happen again. So we're trying to learn from this. Okay, so if anybody wants to come in and discuss something, please do. Otherwise, I'm just going to run through the news. And because it's the first show of the year, I think a lot of people on holiday are skiing or water skiing, snow skiing, whatever people do, whether it's cold or hot. Actually, there's no, where I am in Europe, it's a semi-winter. There's no cold. I decided I'm not going to put winter tires on the car or anything like that because it's really not worth it. And there are days now where I've been running around on a t-shirt, especially if I'm riding a bike or something, then it's like a cool summer's day. So it's quite crazy. And anybody who says, yeah, this is global warming doesn't exist, I mean, they're mad in the head. So what I'm going to be talking about, I've already done Dubai and Riyadh. Then I'm going to be talking about petrol prices, and then Ryanair and Iranian hypocrisy, and then I'm going to be talking about something called a coalition. So Dubai and Riyadh, we've had the New Year celebrations. I thought it was quite spectacular how Saudi kicked off with 47 executions. And this is going to be with us for a while because Shias, especially in Tehran, are not taking this lying down, because they now went and they stormed the Saudi Arabian embassy, and they are demanding an explanation why and how and blah blah. So this is going against, with the old tensions between Shias and Sunnis, where they don't see eye to eye, and they think that their interpretation of the Quran and their interpretation of what allegedly happened over 1,000 years ago, this is a reason for now to kill other people. And the thing is, there is no evidence that Muhammad ever existed. There is no evidence that any of these people really existed the way that they are described in the Sunnah. Okay, maybe some of the people existed in different ways or in different areas or whatever, but we don't know whether this happened. But just because it says in some stories that there was a guy called Muhammad, and when he died, he made the mistake of not clarifying who was to succeed him. Then they decided, well, it should be his best friend Abu Bakr. But the other group said, no, it should be Ali, because he married Muhammad's daughter, Fatima, and because he is therefore sort of part of the family, then the family should continue providing the caliph. And the others said, no, the caliph is not bloodline, and maybe you have idiots, and come on, this is true. I mean, if I look at it, I mean, for me, one of the biggest idiots as a king would be Prince Charles or something like that, a total fool. And so they said, okay, no, we're not going to have bloodline, we're going to have elected, or I don't know what, declared caliphs, which then gave us the first three were declared, and the fourth one was then Ali. So Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, they were they were not elected; they were simply declared caliph, and that was the end of the story. And Shias didn't like that, and because of the position of the caliph, we today have people killing each other over that. What happened then in those days, according to some story, without any evidence for it that it actually happened. So I think this is crazy. How can humans be this primitive and think I need to kill this guy because he interprets the Quran slightly different than I do, or he believes a fairy tale in a slightly different way? If I think that I don't know, give me a fairy tale, Cinderella. If Cinderella took off the left shoe, then it's okay. If Cinderella lost the right shoe, I need to kill the guy who believes that. Well, that's crazy. And yet people are doing this. And I don't understand how people can justify this, that they don't wake up and they see themselves, listen, what are we doing? I don't understand how people can do this. Okay, so but it is happening, and this is going to stay with us for a while, unfortunately. And I think now because Al-Nimr, because he was quite popular in Iran, sorry, the Islamic Republic of Iran, there's going to be a lot more, well, let's say repercussions. I don't know if this is not going to be the final rift now, if this is not going to be the outbreak of World War III, because Saudis have been a little bit suspicious of the USA moving a little bit closer to Iran again, sorry, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And they did not like this because they wanted to be the buddies and they wanted to be the Middle East kingpins. They didn't like that Iran is, getting stronger and stronger again. And so there's some animosity there, and this is just going to stick around. I don't know what the future is going to be there. Would I want to be in the middle somewhere? No, not really. Actually, Qatar is quite nice because you're in the middle. You can see the rockets flying above you to both sides between the two. Petrol prices. Now, remember last time I was talking about the diminishing income and the increased spending for the Saudi regime. And I stated that Mecca, even though the income is higher than all Disney parks combined, it can't save the kingdom, the entire budget. Well, the royal family has come together and they have financial advisors and they found a solution. Increase petrol prices. So they did, and they increased it by over 50%. So the poor, who are being paid less than minimum wage, suffer a bit more. So they punish the innocent a bit more, increase prices for electricity and water, so that now everyone is affected. Now, if I go to Saudi, I'm getting paid, I'm getting, it's everything's taken care of. I don't notice it. Just to put things into perspective, I filled up my car, had the windshield washed and left a tip, and this cost me €5 to fill up my car, full tank and tip and washing everything, and all this together for €5. And now this is going to increase to €7 or €8. I mean, it sounds silly actually, but for many, this is substantial. Because if you are like a taxi driver and this is your income, you have just halved your income because petrol is the number one driver for your costs. And if before it was 5 and now suddenly it's 50% more, congratulations. So this is going to be quite heavy, especially if then with the money that is left, you then have to pay more for water and for electricity. That's quite heavy. And I don't know if the increase in utilities is going to actually make so much of a difference in Saudi. So I don't know. But again, it's going to hit the poor the most. Then, and if you know Ireland and you know Ryanair and you know, I don't know, I've never used Ryanair. I've never been inside a Ryanair airplane, so I don't even know what they're about. But there is a news service which is called Al-Pakistan, and they reported end of December that the Islamic version of Ryanair, the Ryanair, was launched in Malaysia. And this Ryanair is fully Sharia compliant, following the trend in making everything compatible with Islam, because the Muslims are always screaming that they're being discriminated against because everything needs to be Sharia compliant. And they have a website actually, which is Ryanair.com, and there you can see, actually, can't I pull this up and then put this on the, no, I'm not going to experiment now. So what they say is all the terms and conditions make it fully Ayatollah approved and halal. So here are the 10 rules, what they call make it Sharia compliant. Azan will be mandatory on the flight. And if it's prayer time, everyone has to pray, including the pilot. No need to fear or who will fly the plane, because you just need to have trust in Allah, the pilot of everyone's life. And I remember that this inshallah, we used to call them inshallah truckers, because even in dead bends or curves which you couldn't see, they used to pass and overtake others. So they used to say inshallah. And I remember I talked about this. We used to go on weekends to go skiing in Dizin, for example. And then I used to go to the bus driver and I said, listen, how can you pass here? I know this road. And here you have a blind corner. How can you pass? Well, I just say inshallah, and if Allah wants, then we will make it. And if we don't want, well, who am I to question Allah? So this is why we call them inshallah drivers. So now you have inshallah pilots as well. Rule number 2, non-Muslims will have to pay an extra fare as part of jizya. The additional charge is for their own security and good. 3, women without male members of the family, in other words, not non-mahram, will not be allowed to board the flight. I wonder if the flight attendants, the female ones, are going to have a mahram on board as well. 4, women trying to have sex in the plane toilet with men other than their husband will be charged with infidelity and will be thrown out of the plane. Men involved in such activities will not be given unopened coke as punishment. I don't know if you remember what happened, the story of the unopened coke, where this female Muslim kicked up an unbelievable stink because the coke that she was given was opened and they didn't have another one, and she was told to fucking shut up. And she made this a case of Muslim discrimination. In case of emergency, suicide vests will be provided instead of a life vest. This is to utilize those last moments of your life. Make it big. Make it a big exit. Number 6, women cannot fly the plane. So there's no female pilots allowed. 7, camels will be used for transferring the passengers between plane and terminal. 8, economy class passengers will be upgraded to business class if they convert to the only true religion, applicable only, of course, to non-Muslims. Number 9, pilots will keep a beard at least 6 inches long and put on a skull cap. Air hostesses will wear a burqa in economy class and hijab in business class. And number 10, magazines will be replaced with holy books and the hadiths. No other form of entertainment allowed. Music and movies will be banned to keep it Sharia compliant. There you go. And they have a page, they have everything, they have Let's Fly with Rayani Air, and they have everything. That's it. And it will be the first airline where, upon hearing Allahu Akbar, passengers won't be ducking behind their seats. Oh, goodness. I thought this was too good to pass up. Okay, before we go to the last topic, let's just see what Abu has come up with. Abu, you're a star, gentleman. So, this is from the Quran, I take it. The Byzantines have been defeated. Okay, we don't know anything about this. In the nearest land, we don't know what that is. But they, after their defeat, will overcome. Well, we don't know what that means. Within 3 to 9 years, well, this needs interpretation.
Sorry.
To Allah belongs the command before and after. Well, that's not clear. And that day, believers will rejoice. We don't know what that day is. In the victory of Allah. Well, that's nonsense. He gives victory to whom he wills. Okay. And he is the exalted in might, the merciful, and mentioned when we said to the angels prostrate before Adam, so they prostrated except for Iblis. He refused and was arrogant and became of the deen. Okay, what part does not require interpretation here?
You know what? Maybe I changed my mind. It's actually very hard to find anything that isn't ambiguous. Okay. The only reason why I wrote this was, first I thought I took this Ghulibatir Rum. That's pretty obvious. Like the Romans are defeated, but then you read the next ayah, it becomes immediately ambiguous afterwards. So, but the funny thing with this is, like, in the nearest land. What does that mean?
Exactly.
This is this should be a huge embarrassment for Muslims, because in the use this ayah like one of the miracles of God.
Yeah, because the lowest land.
Yeah. But what do you mean like nearest land? And this is actually something that I think points to that the origins of the Quran and Muhammad was not in the area of Hijaz, but further north. Because then this in the nearest land would make sense.
Then it makes sense, exactly. This is another indication of exactly my favorite pet hypothesis that everything was 1,000 kilometers higher up and 100 years later. Yeah. Shit, and I thought maybe you found something that was really unambiguous and was clear and would not require any kind of further
Maybe I'm
context.
presupposing that but it's true. I was trying to find some like all these boring surahs like Surah An-Nisa, but even there it's hard to find something that isn't have some ambiguous part in it. I don't know.
Because the thing is, there is something that is very clear, and that is, for example, in 4:11, I think it is. It says that the daughters, if there are more than two, will get 2/3 of the inheritance. Now,
Yeah, that was the first I thought I wanted to paste.
exactly.
But then I realized that
Exactly.
the first sentence wasn't really clear. Like
Even this
then test the orphans in their ability.
This requires requires interpretation, because what does it mean more than two? Because it covers one daughter and it covers more than two. What about two daughters?
I don't know. I remember this when I was actually studying this under a real sheikh in Saudi Arabia. So they have like it's actually pretty mathematical, all this stuff. But the problem is this, that the first sentence is a little bit ambiguous.
Well, not only a little bit, but because the thing is that if it's more than two daughters, they get 2/3. Well, and mother and father each get 1/6. That's 1/3. So you're already done 3/3. But then what about the rest? I mean,
I remember that I was studying this and I got like headache.
exactly.
That
You
was
can't.
the most.
You can't.
Was the
Because
most
I did a video. I did 3 videos on this, on inheritance. Okay, this is why I remember. It's 4:11, 4:12, and 4:176. And there you can see the different variations of all the different inheritances, and they contradict each other, because in the one it's 1/6 and the other one it's 1/8. Then you have the stupidity that there is no coverage for two daughters, only for one and more than two. And then if you have more than 3 parties, it always goes, you are what they call oversubscribed. This is why humans need to interpret this. And then you have Sharia, and you have the application, you have the different inheritance calculators on the web, which then come up with the most bizarre calculations, how you get everybody under one hat.
You know what I just thought of? I just wanted to say like, and what happens if she changes sex? But actually, I think there is actually someone asked this question, I think, to Ibn al-Tharmin, because so they have thought about these things too. Believe me, if she changes sex.
Yeah, because I mean, this is what people, discuss. This is what people talk about. This is what clerics spend huge amounts of time on. Anyway, but my standard question is always, what if you have 3 daughters, mother, father, and wife? Please calculate this for me. And I mean, it sounds very straightforward. Truth Bob, the people go to the Quran and say, oh, this is easy. Here we have 3 daughters, they get this, then we get the father this, the mother this, the wife this. And they're very proud and they say, here you go. And then I say, look at the number. And then they realize, oh shit, there's something wrong here. And then they go back and start thinking. And this is always, for me, the smiling moment when I say, oh, Jesus, don't you guys do anything? Don't you look at the Quran in a critical way? Do you really only read it without thinking? But it's exactly this. So you are saying you actually studied this and you realized, but there was a problem, but not where?
No. Back then, I was like that myself. I was like, you seen this clip with Richard Dawkins when he go to this Muslim school and ask like the school children there about like the two waters that
The
doesn't
barrier,
meet it.
yeah.
Like
The
they
woman with the
just
glasses.
swallow everything and like memorize everything. They don't do any critical thinking. So I wasn't doing any critical thinking. I just remembered that this was one of the most boring surahs to memorize. It was extremely boring.
Do you remember 5101?
5101 in my head.
Because this is, I thought everybody remembers this immediately, because this is my favorite line in the entire Quran. No, actually my favorite is 1404. But 5101 is, don't ask questions, if answered will give you a headache.
In Surat Al-Ma'idah.
5101, don't ask questions, because if the answer is going to give you a problem, don't ask it.
Yeah, I mean, I find it, I don't understand. How could I be so extremely stupid that I really took this serious? But it's like, before you know Arabic, you have this like it's like men who like are fall in love with women, and they like project all their dreams and hopes and think that she's like everything. And like, it's the same thing. Before you know Arabic, maybe you believe, oh, but the translation, maybe it's not really correct. But when you know Arabic, then you will realize. But then you learn Arabic and you see that, what the bleep is this? This is just, some ravaging of, yeah.
So this is what I always tell the people. I tell Muslims, learn Arabic, read the Quran, and you will be an atheist.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you go. But please, if you do find one, I'd actually welcome this, because
I started to read, but I give up.
So if you do come across one, I mean, I'm not asking you to read the whole Quran sentence by sentence, because I've done that, okay? But I was looking for something else, so I did not make a note of everything. So if you do come across something like this, this would be really brilliant. Okay, then finally, the coalition. Remember, a few weeks ago, I reported on an Islamic Forces coalition, which was, led by the KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And has anything happened in the meantime? Has anyone heard anything about this, what they have done, other than just carry on killing people in Yemen? Not that I've heard. The only thing to come from the Saudi-led initiative, which is still undefined, like who's actually part of it, and what the goals are, and what they're going to use, with what weapons and what goal, and what the expectations are. I haven't heard anything. So the only thing that happened last week was a statement. And this statement said, we are very successful, and this movement will aid in projecting the bright image of Islam in the world. In projecting the bright image of Islam in the world. This is what this coalition is doing, that came together to fight, well, actually not Yemen, but to fight Daesh. So how does getting a couple of people around a table who decide, we really need to do something, well, 2028 or something, how does this project the bright image of Islam in the world? What bright image? At the moment, the image of Islam in the world is one of terrorism. So instead of getting together and saying, okay, listen, we need to take ownership of this, and we need to decide what Islam actually is, they're carrying on pretending as though nothing had happened. They're just continuing and saying, well, we are going to project the bright image of Islam. What utter fools! There is no bright image of Islam, not on this planet. There is nobody who is saying Islam is wonderful and great, as long as all we have is terrorist attacks everywhere. I mean, look at the news. I mean, I can't find something without bumping into Daesh. It's always something. So I don't understand how blind you can be. I mean, they don't even elaborate what image this is, and they don't elaborate how they're going to do and what they're going to do. Just sitting around a table is not going to change anything. You need to do stuff. Hands locked in prayer are not so good as hands actually doing something. So I'm actually amazed that, I don't know, these are experts. It's like what you, Abu, you've just said. I mean, these are the people that are teaching others about Islam, and they should be the ones who are saying, okay, they are not Muslims because, and they should say, this is what it says. This is what the message is in the Quran. This is what we want the world to know, and now we are going to have one version of the Quran, and we're going to bring it out in every language, or in the 15 major languages. And then we all know what it means. Then we know what it says about women. Then we understand what it says about killing others, when it says what and how to whom. But they don't do that. They keep it vague, they keep it down to interpretation, and then they say, this is the bright image of Islam in the world. It's unbelievable to me how they can do that. And then they say, this coalition, under the leadership of custodian of the two holy mosques, King Solomon, no, King Salman, no, Salman, not Salman. Did you see the picture that Ike made last time in a Salman with a crown on his head? No, it's King Salman, and it's not King Salman. Is an extension. Okay, let me try again. The coalition under the leadership of the custodian of the two holy mosques. Okay, so the king is the custodian of the two holy mosques, one being in Mecca, one being in Medina. Those are the two holy mosques. Why they are holy, nobody knows. Is an extension of the cultural and historical role which began with the unification of the country during the reign of founder King Abdul Aziz. So they're taking 34 countries, I think it was, into one coalition, and they are now starting to make Saudi Arabian internal politics of this, saying that what King Abdul Aziz did is the beginning of the bright image of Islam, because he unified the entire country, and because he unified the country, this is now Islam and the bright image. Now, come on. How can anybody be so blind? How can anybody be this deluded? It's absolutely astonishing how anybody can go and just propagate this and not feel stupid.
I feel a bit stupid. I don't understand what.
Okay, is there anything? Yes, Abu.
I mean, maybe I wasn't
I thought
listening.
you said something.
No, but how? I didn't understand the logic quite there. I mean, what they unified the country and therefore what?
Yeah, but what country?
Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. So how can you get a country like, I don't know, Malaysia, to be part of the coalition to fight Daesh under the auspices of the one guy, because 100 years ago, how long ago is this? 80 years ago, he united Saudi Arabia. And as a king.
Have they become the leaders of that coalition now?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
This is the whole point. And they are now making politics with this and saying, you know, because we unified Saudi Arabia, this is why we are the leaders in this coalition and everybody follow us.
Maybe they should do something about all the rich guys over there that support Daesh. So
it's
maybe they should start with that. Maybe they shouldn't like flood the world with all this propaganda.
There's any help that I can get quickly without, because I forgot to do this. Plant an olive tree for the story of Abu Bakr, the first caliph of Islam. No, I just want, come on. It says here the first hadith of the day, and I thought they're going to give you hadith of the day. But this is like 15 pages.
I can try to find an hadith.
Because I just wanted hadith of the day, Facebook. Charity does not decrease wealth. Our Prophet promised us that when we give charity, our wealth does not decrease. It can actually increase by up to 10 times more. Are they following this Jesus? My brother used to be in there. What are these called? prosperity churches or something like this, or the prosperity Jesus, where if you give Jesus $10, you're going to get 100 back. And my brother paid I don't know how many thousands, and then decided he's going to leave the church. Allah finds a way to provide in amazing ways, and if we truly understand this hadith, many more of us would give a lot more. So today, support hadith of the day and help. They are saying you need to spend money, so give us hadith of the day, some money, and help spread the knowledge. Unbelievable. We've been sending hadiths daily for over 7 years to our mailing list. Have you you only get hadith of the day if you give them your email address. Qais, daughter of Misan, reported that she came to the Messenger of Allah with her child who was not yet weaned, and she placed him in his lap and he urinated into Prophet Muhammad's lap. He did nothing more than spraying water over it. Sahih Muslim, Book 2, Hadith 131. There you go. So he took a baby, the day baby peed on him, and he just put some water on it. Where I would go, run out to put it into the washing machine, he just put some water on it, and that's it. Wow. Salman al-Farisi, Hadith of the Day. Preface, these articles, oh my God, this is also pages and pages and pages of explanations, of interpretations. Wow. Okay. If you give to charity to gain money, it's not really charity. Exactly. This is so hypocritical. This is so save the charity. And when remember the time when IERA was still like a big deal, and then there was this investigation and blah blah blah, and I looked at this, and this was, I think, Rationalizer also did this, because he went and he said, okay, I'll donate, but I'll donate to Somalia. And IERA, this chamber, Yusuf Chambers or whatever his name is, he went and said, no, don't give to Somalia, give to IERA, and then we can buy a camera, we can buy a microphone, we can buy all things like that, and then we can convert people to Muslims. And then you, because you donated to this, you will get part of the points. Whereas if you give to Somalia, you're only going to save a child, and maybe this child is not going to be a Muslim, so you don't get any points. So Islam teaches people to be selfish, because it's about you, and it's only you. You are the one who gets the points, and you want the points, and whatever you do, you're trying to get points for yourself. So giving money is exactly what WZH is saying. If you give money, you are not giving money to somebody, you're giving money so that you get something back. And this is selfish, this is hypocritical, but this is the way that it works. Then I went and checked what Muslim charities are actually doing with this money. And because they are charities, they have to, publicize it somehow. And I checked on this and I saw they are only providing this money to other Muslims. So this is not a charity. I mean, a charity is for needy people, not needy Muslims. So Muslims are saying, we are giving so much, they are giving so much because they're giving it to other Muslims.
I mean, one of the saddest thing about this, getting points in heaven business is that they make like a kind of cost analysis, like calculation, that how can I give the money so it will give me the most points in heaven? Exactly. They find out that it's actually better to give it to dawah than to give it to poor people, because if someone becomes a Muslim through dawah, then you get all the points that he gets too. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. So they are more likely to give money to spread Islam than to give to poor people. So it's a complete waste of money.
Yeah, so it's a real, like a cost analysis, a points, a beneficial analysis. How many points do I get by doing what?
Yeah, or they pay for someone's they pay for someone's Hajj, for example, because they realize, okay, if someone make Hajj, I get all his points. But if I just give to a poor guy like some bread or something, I only get point for that specific action. So,
So Islam like
they
a
waste a
pyramid
lot of
scheme?
money on stupid things.
So if it's like a pyramid scheme, that means if I spend $5,000 and I give this to a guy in a mosque and I say, okay, here's your Hajj money. He, with this $5,000, he goes and gets 5 others to go on Hajj. Then
No.
he
It's
gets
like,
the points from those. Do I get the points from him?
yeah. But like the best thing, say that you, for example, that a Saudi sheikh that has like billions of dollars on his bank account, that you want to spend these billions of dollars to get points in heaven. What's the smartest thing to spend it on? Is the smartest thing to give it like to poor people? Maybe not really. It's actually better to build a huge dawah center in London or something, so that a lot of infidels will convert to Islam and become Muslims, because then he gets all the points. Every time they pray, every time they do anything, he gets all the points too. So that's how the logic works. And therefore, it's much more profitable to spend it on dawah.
Exactly. It's sick, eh? It's quite
This
horrible
is
if you think about it.
this is like, so yeah, it's a self-reinforcing meme, like it just spread and spread and spread. And when you look at it, it's just all this bullshit, you see in all the hadith. I found a hadith for the day, but I don't know if you want to have it.
Yes, go for it.
But maybe we should spare it to the end.
Oh shit! My battery's just expired. I don't know. This is not. I can see that 2016 is not going to be easy for me. Okay, say again. New batteries.
No. Shouldn't we spare it for the end?
Well,
hadith
there's
of the
nothing else. Is there anything that anybody wants to talk about? Because I have run out of topics.
Okay, I tell it. In Sahih Bukhari, Abu Hurairah reported that he heard Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, Nigilla seed is a remedy for every disease except death. That's a clear-cut statement.
Say again, everything what except death?
Nigella seed, like this Habbatu Sauda, is a remedy for every disease except death.
So even
it's,
AIDS.
Yeah, AIDS,
Cancer.
everything. These were the kind of things, we were like, I wanted to like find like this Habbatu Sauda, this Nigella seed, because I wanted like to have this seed so it could cure me of every disease. But then it doesn't work. And then they just say, yeah, but you have to you have to believe in it. Okay, I have to believe. And then, okay, I try to believe, but I have to believe. But it doesn't work. I have to believe. I don't believe enough. These are the kind of things that people are doing,
Unbelievable. Well, there's a guy, I forgot his name. He was in Greece, and he went around. He was a convert, I think. And he went around to Christian organizations while they were having discussions. And then during the Q&A, he said, okay, this is a bottle of poison, drink it. Because if you are a true Christian, you will not suffer any damages from this poison. And of course, he mocked them if they didn't. But the same thing is exactly what you are saying. The same thing applies to him. So if I give him poison, I will tell him, okay, drink this, and then you can take the seed, and then you will be cured from this. So there's no problem. Is he going to drink it? No. So why does a Muslim sitting in the glass house throw with stones? That's weird.
Yeah.
And monkfish, exactly. Zindani claimed to have cured AIDS with it. Exactly. He went out. I didn't know it was this very same thing, but I remember Zindani saying something about that there are remedies, because this was the hadith of the fly. I don't know if people know this, that there's a hadith which says that if you have a fly which lands in your drink, you have to, dunk it. You have to go and push it under the inside the drink, because on the one wing, it doesn't say which wing, whether it's the left or the right one. In one wing there's a poison, and the other one is the antidote. So if by chance it only hits one wing in the drink, then you have the poison in the drink. So you make sure that you put it into your drink completely, so that both sides are in the drink, so that you have the antidote. I mean, how ridiculous is that? I mean, the flies are full of bacteria and all sorts of shit. So this is the worst thing that you could basically do. So Zindani came around and said, well, this hadith actually, if you interpret this, it means that for every illness, for every malady that you have, there is a remedy provided from Allah. And therefore, if you have cancer or if you have AIDS or something, then there is a remedy, and here you go, the hadith tells you what to do. And then, so there was something, but I didn't know it was exactly this.
But wait. That hadith is quite clear. He said that, like, that there is a remedy there.
Yes.
So why else would you like dip it deeper into the soup or whatever it was?
Well, this is the remedy only now, which is on the fly. But the Zindani one is different, because he says this is just the fly is just the indication that Allah has given us a remedy for every illness, and the remedy in general, not the fly, but in general, is this blah blah blah. And I couldn't remember what this was, but I remember he said it can even cure AIDS.
I think there's another hadith that says exactly that. There is a remedy for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just that we don't know everything. But this hadith is, with this Habbat al-Sauda, is that it's quite clear. It's like there is a remedy. It is a remedy for every disease except death. So it's like all swans are white. There's no black swan. Like
that's why
so it's a testable claim. You can test it. So, but I don't know. And this hadith, like, it's not just in Sahih Bukhari. It's multiple hadith in. Anyway, the point is, I don't understand. How can they read this hadith and not see that this is such a fraud? I don't understand.
Well, if you believe it, you do. Come on. I mean, there are people, and that's why it's called brainwashing. You can't. I was amazed actually what you said earlier, where you said, "Okay, I was there. I did not realize it." And this is exactly it. You were there. You were reading the very same words that you read today, where you say, "Oh my God, this is funny." But in those days, you did not see it like that.
I don't know. It's I surprise myself, but it's like I grew up with this kind of, when I grew up, it was kind of a virtue to, how do I say, like to believe in things without questioning it. Like, I know I grew up with like a lot of communism and Marxism and so on, and there it also is a bit like that. You shouldn't question certain things too much, and you should be a true believer. So I grew up with that, but in the same way I grew up with sciences. I don't understand how it could. But as I said, the only thing I can compare it to is like when someone fall in love with a woman, and it's almost a psychotic love, that he thinks that she is more beautiful than maybe she really is, and that she's so wonderful and virtuous and everything. And it takes time before you really realize that maybe that's not the truth.
Well, that's self-deception, and the other one is brainwashing.
And of course,
I'm very happy that I found this study now on the fitra, because you still have people running around saying that it's an innate, proper, basic belief that gods exist, and even children have this. And I found now a study which says, nope, sorry, it's indoctrination. It's outside influence which makes you believe in gods. It's nothing that you can find within your genes or something like this. So that topic is now dead. And I'm hoping that people like Aira will not come up with this again.
I don't think they care.
It's also true. They don't care whether what is
One-
the truth. And yeah, it's true. Yeah.
To their defense, I should say that, I mean, Islam, I mean, Christianity also, but Islam in particular, are very good at this kind of psychological warfare against the individual, where you like scare them as hell, or they are terrified of being punished in hell forever. So that's the thing that really like makes you stop thinking. It's just like gangsters that threaten you with all kind of things, and then you don't dare to commit any thought crimes.
Yeah. And then they come and they say, well, it's like a teacher giving you a test. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's like, you know, in this book in 1984, where it's not just enough that they say that they believe that they love the
Yep.
Big Brother. They have to really love the Big Brother. They torture him until until he really loves the Big Brother. Yeah, it's like that.
All right, ladies and gents, it's been fun, but I mean, I'm not going to drag this out. I'm not the kind of person, I'm not bent on making this go for 2 hours. If we have an interesting discussion, yes. But if not, nobody says he has to show the formula of medicine. We'd have to sell it on cheap run. Yeah. But then this would be charitable to provide medicine to all those that have AIDS, and who wants to be charitable if you can't get any bonus points for it? So rather keep it for yourself so that nobody can get points for it. Okay, ladies, gents, and others, thank you very much. I need to find out now how to get back on Vaughan so that I can log in there. And hang on, what happens if I type something? Does that, no, sign in. I need to sign in. And I can't sign in. Guest 91344722242. That's me. So I can make guest comments, but it's asking me to sign in, and I can't do that because I don't remember the password and everything. So I'll have to just reapply. Okay, thank you very much. See you next week for another episode of the Jinn and Tonic Show. And if you are a Muslim or you want to discuss Islam in any way, just come in and join us. Just type in hangout.godless.ch, or if you want to just listen and maybe type a comment or something like this, go to www.godless.ch. And if you want to see the older episodes, go to archive.godless.ch. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.